Everyone has heard of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic at some point, regardless of whether or not they are a brony. I, of course, am a brony myself, and I have watched every episode, all the shorts, and all the Equestria Girls movies. While waiting for Season 5, I'd been slowly drifting away from it and was more focused on other stuff. When Season 5 did eventually came out, I was excited and watched every episode that came out. I loved every episode despite its flaws. I especially loved the 100th episode, making it my favorite episode of all. However, recently the show decided to go on hiatus again during the middle of the season, and at the time I am writing this, it is still on hiatus. I was very pissed off. Why would they suddenly go on a hiatus again after the long wait we had to go through? Most of my friends said it might have had to do with the new Equestria Girls movie. But that won't excuse the fact that they recently showed the finale off the convention, meaning that they could still make the other episodes. I went out of my way to find the reason behind it, but found nothing. However, I wish I could have just left that reason for alone. One Sunday morning, I went on my computer and booted up Skype. I saw that one of my friends, whom I called Danny, messaged me an hour ago. Danny said he was horrified by what he saw. I was confused and asked him what he was talking about. He wouldn't say what he was talking about, so I asked him if I could see what was he talking about. It took me a few minutes until he finally gave in and gave me an immediate fire link to an episode. I was surprised by what I saw. It was named My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Season 5, Episode 14, True Friendship. I asked him where he got this, and he said he got it off of YouTube. Apparently the video was almost instantly removed by Hasbro, but he managed to download it quickly. At the time, I thought a hacker must have hacked them or something, because when I looked on YouTube, I found nothing of this episode. I thanked him that he didn't respond back. His status was set on away, and I thought he had to go somewhere. I then proceeded to open up the video, but I saw the episode was shorter than a normal episode. The average episode is about 22 minutes long, but here it's about 16 minutes. I was confused for a moment, but I thought maybe the hacker couldn't get the whole episode since it was finished and had to be uploaded what he had. I was also a bit doubtful that this was an actual episode and was beginning to think that this was some fan animation by some brony. I shrugged off the feeling and clicked play on the episode. I found it odd, but then I remembered Potter probably wasn't finished. The episode looked like it was filmed on a VHS tape since the video and sound quality was bad. The intro was the same as the one in Season 1, just without Twilight's library in the background. Regardless, the intro went by as usual until it ended. There was nothing again for a few seconds until it abruptly cut into the episode. It showed the front of Twilight's new castle for about 20 seconds. There was no sound or title card. It was just a still shot of the castle. It then cut to Twilight Sparkles laying on her bed, crying. I've never seen Twilight so depressed like this. In fact, the crying sounded like Tara Strong if she was actually crying. Pinkie Pie then slowly walked up to her. She was not her normal happy self that I came to know and love. She asked Twilight what was wrong, and Twilight looked over Pinkie. Slowly, Spike is dead, she said. I was shocked by what she said. Not only was the fact that it was a main character actually died, it was just they never talk about death directly. Fluttershy did say to Rainbow Dash that Tank was going to die if he didn't hibernate in tanks for the memories. But she didn't mention the word death or anything like that. Also in Crusaders the Lost Mark, Applejack hints that her parents are dead, but doesn't say the word death in any way. The picture flashed on the screen before it cut to the next scene, but I didn't attempt to see what it was since I can't pause it fast enough. The next scene showed Twilight silently walking down the road of Ponyville. She was not crying anymore, but she looks very depressed. Her cue mark was gone, and there was still no sound other than the sounds of her hoof steps. There were no background plays. The background looked like it was drawn on a paper and used over and over again for the walk. The walk cycle lasted for about 2 minutes until the background changed to what it might look like in the show. Twilight stopped, and I noticed that she was a bit grayer than before. The camera panned over to the destroyed library that Tyrak destroyed. It stayed like that for a minute until it cut to black. It stayed like that for about 10 seconds until cutting to the back to the castle. Fluttershy walked to Twilight's bedroom door and knocked on it. Twilight, can you come out for a second? If that is okay for you, she said, unsure about this. At first it sounded like there was no response until I heard muffling from the other side. I turned the volume up and kept listening to it. I heard Twilight repeating the words, "Friendship is not magic," over and over again. It sounded like she was going insane. Fluttershy was also hearing the same thing and slowly backed away, scared. What kind of episode is this? I thought to myself. This is not for kids. The next scene showed Rainbow Dash in the sky flying around and clearing clouds as normal until she stopped. She looked around, looking very uneasy, like if she was being watched. The camera switched to a different position as Rainbow Dash continued to look around, but the sky was black. The clouds were still there, but the sky was black if it was nighttime. Rainbow Dash then flew away off camera. The scene stayed like this for about a minute, giving me an unnerving feeling that there was something else to the scene. At the last few seconds, I saw a gray figure flying towards the camera. I looked more closely at the figure and realized it was Twilight. She kept flying towards the camera until she was right up to it. It then cut to black with a faint buzzing heard in the background for about 5 seconds. There was then a still picture of Ponyville, looking like it was abandoned. The sky was still black, and there was the sound of wind in the background. It stayed like this for about a few 40 seconds until it cuts to the front of Twilight's castle again. The sky still stayed black. The scene changed to the inside of Twilight's castle, and the camera panned around, showing different rooms slowly. There was also a narration, but I got back in a bit. What I saw was horrifying. It showed the main 6, except Twilight, all cut up and mutilated. They were all discolored as well, meaning that they were dead. Each room had each character of the main 5 in them as the camera pans slowly. The first room showed Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash lying on the ground. Pinkie's head was gone and nowhere to be found in the scene. She had cuts all over her body and was bleeding cartoon blood. Rainbow Dash had her wings snapped and she had a large gash on her chest. She apparently was hit by a cleaver in the head, which caused their death. The second room showed Fluttershy, Rarity, and Applejack. Rarity had her jaw and horn broken off. There was a knife in the left deep within her eye. Applejack had her back legs torn off and had a gash on her head. There was a hole where her heart would be. Fluttershy had her wings ripped off and looked like she was beaten to death, having several stab wounds around her. I watched in horror, trying to resist the urge to puke. What the fuck kind of episode is this? I said. As mentioned earlier, there was a narration going on with the background by Twilight Sparkle as the scene played out. I didn't catch on what she was said and didn't want to rewatch the scene. So I decided to go back earlier in the scene and minimize the video so I won't have to see the scene again. Dear Princess Celestia, Twilight said, words echoing around. Friendship is not magic. I have been living a lie. True friendship will be able to prevent such happenings. That was not the case for me. My true friends did not prevent what happened at all. Life is just a lie. In your end, your friends will just backstab you and leave. So here's the question: what is true friendship? I was tearing up slightly when she was done talking. I opened the video back up, and the camera was still panning slowly. It came up to one room where it showed the letter Twilight wrote. The camera then panned slowly towards Twilight, hanging from a noose, dead. She had several cuts on her body, and was also discolored. The camera stopped and stayed on Twilight's hanging body for the rest of the episode. I thought that wasn't the end, so I quickly skipped the last few seconds of the episode. All it showed was just static. It went back before the static happened. Twilight was still hanging from a noose, but there was one frame of a picture before cutting to static. I opened up the video editor so I can go through the frames. I decided to go to the first frame from earlier when Twilight was crying. It was both a picture of Spike with both of our arms ripped off, his eyes gouged out and heart torn out. The blood looked more detailed in this shot than the other from later. I once again resisted the urge to puke and skipped to the point where it cuts to static. What I saw scared me. It was a picture of Twilight close to the camera, looking like she was screaming and had realistic bloodshot human eyes. Surrounding the eyes were what was pure black, like staring into a void. She was still discolored, like she was dead. No matter what I do, it will always end up this way. My heart was pounding. I didn't know what to say. I quickly checked Skype and saw that Danny was back online. I was quick to ask questions on the episode. He responded saying that he knows the reason why the episode was made. Apparently Hasbro hired a new writer for the show, but the writer was insane and didn't believe in friendship. He then went on to writing an episode about it. The guy was also an animator, which is how he managed to animate the episode. The voice actors had no idea what they were getting into once they were voicing for the episode. Everyone at Hasbro rejected this episode idea once the new writer showed the script. He still went on to animating the episode and uploaded it on YouTube. Hasbro quickly took down the video, but the man was nowhere to be found shortly after the video was taken down. I am still in shock on what I just saw. I still wish I would have never found out on why they would suddenly go on a hiatus. I still have the video on my hard drive. I am unsure if it's going to be uploaded on YouTube. Well, I don't know about this story. My Little Pony friendship is magic. True friendship. All I'm gonna say is this story was not that good. Not surprising it's actually on the Spinpasta wiki for it. I just didn't like the story whatsoever, and I think this story needs a rewrite on how mediocre and absolutely bad it truly was. So, what's the problem with this creepypasta? First of all, the grammar isn't even that great. I did copy and paste this into a Google Doc, and I just see a lot of grammar issues with this creepypasta. Highly advise the author to use something like Grammarly or Google Docs for this. Second thing is, the unusual intro isn't necessary. This has been done in many times in lost episode creepypastas. The library not being in the background intro is the reason for the intro for fucking... I don't know. That just doesn't make sense whatsoever. Third of all, the episode being in poor quality. Yeah, this is what exactly ruined this creepypasta for me. This has been in, like, almost every Spinpasta story I've heard of. No sound or title card is one of them. People, just please stop with this. It's just annoying as hell. Fourth of all, the realistic crying or screaming or whatever the fuck it is being put into the episode. Another cliche. Please stop with this. I don't think any of this makes any sense of putting shit like this. It's for the most part. Isn't this a little embarrassing to do something like this anyway? Fifth, the insanity shit. I can't stand this if it doesn't have an explanation. Sixth of all, the characters are getting killed for no reason, like multiple characters getting brutally murdered, cliché. I can't stand this shit as well. Too much gore and too much shit added to it that I actually cannot stand. Seventh, urging to puke. Please, please, stop with this. Just please. Eighth, the episode being made by an animator who's just fucking coconuts or some murder. I don't know. People stop with this. This can go with the Andrew Skinner cliché. This trope is annoying as hell. In other words, the story was absolute crap. So much isn't even put into it. The story was a confusing fucking slop I think should be rewritten or be forgotten for good. Also, this reminds me of the stories I wrote when I was 13. They were just like this. And to the author of the story, I believe you could do better in the future. You probably did. The story was a nothing burger, and for good reasons for that. It was cliched, confusing, and poorly written. Unfortunately, I do not have a rating in this creepypasta because it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. If you agree or disagree with my opinion, that is fine. We are all entitled to our opinions. Anyway, I'm out.